Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and for the first time in what seems like 7 years, we have a new Doctor Who adventure, this one called The Robot Revolution, and actually it does start 7 years before now. And in that opening, we establish not only the character of Belinda Chandra, and what she does, and she's an emergency room nurse and things like this, but also that the doctor is looking for her. And I find this kind of interesting. It's not the first time this has happened with the first episode of season 1, where he happens to be in the same dance club that Ruby Sunday is working at. And so I think that's kind of the way that they will begin any kind of new partnership with a new companion, is that they'll have the doctor just happen to be there. Well, actually, that worked with Rose, too, even in the Eccleston time. So I suppose that's just that kind of thing. Rather than establish the companion first, you have the doctor looking for her. And we don't really know why the doctor was looking for her at that time, but usually you can explain that away with just timey-wimey, which once again is kind of ridiculed in this episode. We have a companion here in Belinda Chandra as someone that I would kind of cross between Clara Oswald and Donna Noble. She's gainfully employed like Clara is, and is slightly annoyed by the doctor much of the time, and at the same time has a little of that spunk that Donna Noble had as well. I don't care who you are. I don't want to go on any adventures. Take me home. And of course, in times like these is when the TARDIS doesn't want to work properly. And the suggestion at the end of the episode is that there may not be any Earth there to go to at the time period that they've picked. So this could be a rather involved story, which I'm not surprised at terribly. So mainly what this was about was introducing the Doctor and Belinda together and establishing something that's rather odd about her, this star being named after her by a overly protective boyfriend. So it kind of starts off with Belinda meeting with her boyfriend or friend or something, Alan. And he is kind of a controlling fellow, and as a gift to her, he names a star, which is Ms. Belinda Chandra. Now, this comes back, of course, in a butterfly effect in order to have this whole world created. And while I think that most of this was a way of just, introducing the character to the Doctor and for them to start going off on their adventures, really the arc of all of this is going to be why it is that Belinda looks very much like the person that they met during the war on this other planet when they found out there wasn't a war going on, but the Doctor was standing on a mine that he couldn't pick his foot up off of until they settled everything. You remember this. Anyway, same person. And we knew at the time that this actor was going to be picked as a future companion. So it's a matter now of the Doctor trying to figure out why there is almost a genetically identical version of herself in the 52nd century as in the 21st. So this is something that's going to be the mystery, but has nothing really to do with this particular episode. She is picked up by the robots of Ms. Belinda Chandra Prime. And they fly her to the planet to make her the queen, and she is supposed to get married to the AI. Now, it really doesn't matter because much of this story and much of the characters in this story don't seem to make much of an impression. There is a character who greets her, who is kind of the protocol person, and apparently was close to the Doctor. And when she dies, the Doctor sheds a tear for her and was otherwise pretty broken up by the fact that she gets killed. And we don't know anything about her, anything about the doctor's interactions with her. All we know is that because of a time anomaly, she got there 6 months after the doctor did. The doctor was chasing her. She saw the TARDIS from outside the window, and then the ripple goes by, and then she ends up on this planet some 6 months after the doctor did. The doctor is now trying to organize a revolution on the planet, and we don't know why the people are like they are, because we really don't have anything to establish them. The doctor already knows them, and we're not told anything about it. So we're kind of left out on this story, and that's unusual for a Doctor Who episode. Usually there's plenty of exposition. So we don't know why one of the revolutionaries acted like a jerk. And they don't seem to really care, because they're too busy just getting to the end of this. Art direction, though, is very good. I really liked the design of the city and of the robots. It had kind of a 50s science fiction feel to it. The bright colors, the glossiness, things like this were common in 50s science fiction movies, the ones that were made in color. And it has that, I don't know what you would call it. It was the modernism of that time, which really became kind of a style that never survived it. But it's still interesting to look at. And apparently the robot overlords used to be just friendly with them, and the Doctor is trying to get that back the way it was. And Belinda was inadvertently sped up the process. So we knew that it was all going to get along fine, and everybody was going to thank the Doctor and wave goodbye to him as they get into the TARDIS. And she gets to experience it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, and to find out it's a time machine and what the Doctor really is. And I think that the one thing that bothered me was they move it in, and she said, "So this is your TARDIS." And I don't know that anybody had told her that what he traveled in was a TARDIS. All we know is that she saw it go by while she was on the alien ship headed for her so-named planet. So I'm thinking that's a little hint. I doubt that something like that was mistaken, because they spend plenty of time in production on this to let a slip like that go by. Now, it might be suggested that we have a conversation with her from the Doctor that's just not filmed, or was cut out and they just didn't leave that out. Still, I don't believe that. I think that it's kind of a hint of, once again, the Clara Oswald kind of thing, where she existed in several time periods. So it seems to me a little odd. And so I think that's something that we could follow on to see just what happens as far as how much Belinda knows and just what happened to the Earth. Now, we see Mrs. Flood also, and she once again breaks the fourth wall and says, "You didn't see me," while she seems to be everybody's next door neighbor. She's moved from wherever Ruby lived to now where Belinda lived, and just happens to be out there watering her lawn. And what she has to do with any or all of this is still up in the air. We never really have gotten a real clear picture of who Mrs. Flood is, other than the fact that she certainly is not just the sweet old lady next door. So I don't know if they'll tell us anything about that in the show or not, but I find it kind of interesting. So always, Ncuti, when he's on the screen, just lights it up, and that's the person you want to watch. I think the best Doctors are those that need to be in pretty much every scene, because that's who you've come to see, and he knows it and plays to it. It was the one thing that was disappointing about Jodie Whittaker, is that she did not have such a great presence, and often wasn't even in the scene with the other characters. And I think that messed her up as a Doctor. It wasn't her acting ability. I think it was just the way she was written and the way that they didn't really seem to have any confidence in her. And some of the more notable Doctors, Tom Baker comes to mind, David Tennant comes to mind. They're in the midst of it all the time. And you watch it for them, not for what the story is going to be, not for who the companion is. And so I see that for Ncuti as well. He just is a very dynamic individual that you want to see. Also, he's the first Doctor who can change clothes. Every other Doctor has changed from their previous Doctor's clothes into theirs, and they never change clothes. I mean, actually they did. David Tennant used to have brown stripes on his suit some weeks and blue stripes on other, depending on whether he was going forward or backward in time. Matt Smith did have a wardrobe change, but he always wore the bow tie and all of that. And Ncuti does not seem to have any particular style. It's just whatever fits the time period or something else interesting. And so I think that's an interesting change, and something series television used to do all the time because it was cheaper wardrobe just to have the main characters dressed the same every day. So that's how they're doing it. You can kind of see where the money's going. So that's my general thoughts on the Robot Revolution. I didn't care much for the story because I really could not get really understanding the other characters or why they were important, other than the Doctor and Belinda. But as I said, I did like the design. It had a very 50s otherworldly look. It was the robots especially were effective, and even the little robot that had vents on the door gives a very 50s sports car look. So all of that was very well done, and we enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoyed it too. Hope you will come back when we have episode 2 reviewed next week. We'll have these on Monday. And until next time, please subscribe. And if you like what you see, please click a like as well. And we have some other things. We do retro reviews of Babylon 5, of Deep Space Nine. We're going to, as soon as Andor comes back on April 22nd, shortly after that, we'll have reviews on that as well. So stay tuned to the channel. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, don't go far.